Incoming transmission standby. Welcome to the Nod News Network. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is expected to defy a backlash from Tory colleagues and northern leaders by abandoning the high-speed rail route to Manchester as he seeks to portray himself as a radical reformer. Mr. Sunak is expected to use his Conservative conference speech in the northern city to axe the HS2 leg from Birmingham as he criticises 30 years of a broken system incentivising the easy decision, not the right one. With the Tories having been in charge for the majority of the last 3 decades, Mr. Sunak will pitch himself as the man to fundamentally change the country ahead of an election expected next year. He is widely expected to bring the axe down on the high-speed rail project that was due to connect Manchester with Birmingham, and onto central London, but has so far refused to confirm the plans. Mr. Sunak is expected to pledge to reinvest around £36 billion of savings into road and rail schemes in the North and Midlands. But critics, including Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, warned those schemes would not be feasible without key parts of the infrastructure that would have formed HS2. Cabinet Minister Grant Shapps said the public must wait for Mr. Sunak's speech to hear exact confirmation on HS2 as he sought to argue it will still run, but indicating not on high-speed rails between Birmingham and Manchester. The Defence Secretary, who was until September last year Transport Secretary, told BBC Breakfast, "He's taken a very close, careful look at that second part of the HS2 line. I keep reading that HS2 will be scrapped, HS2 will actually run. That second part of the line, the balance that has to be made given that bit has not been built yet, is whether it makes sense to carry on building that given the world has changed." Mr. Shapps argued that the decision shows the Prime Minister is not thinking about the very short term and is instead considering difficult decisions. "It's much harder to change tracks on something like this when you see the world's changed than it is just to plough on. It will attract criticism when you do these things. He's prepared to take those long-term, difficult decisions because he thinks we can get to a bright future by doing them," he added. The Tory mayor for the West Midlands, Andy Street, earlier said axing HS2 to Manchester would be an incredible political gaffe, allowing opponents to accuse Mr. Sunak of having decided to shaft the North while in Manchester. Labour's Mr. Burnham told BBC's Newsnight, "Sometimes in politics, it's not just what you do, but it's the way that you do it. So announcing this decision in Manchester, I think just shows contempt for the place." He added, "In effect, what they are deciding is that the north of England will have a smaller economy for the rest of this century as a result of this decision." Mr. Sunak has repeatedly ducked questions about scaling back HS2 despite northern leaders, businesses, and former Tory leaders Boris Johnson, Theresa May and David Cameron all warning against the move. This has been the Nod News Network, transmission complete.